Banks and economic data. Hello and welcome to our weekly outlook. Federal Reserve meeting minutes, RBA interest rate decision, and ECB's special strategy meetings can spotlight the week ahead. And while Monday is Independence Day in the United States and a holiday, Europeans will start the week with the Service PMI data. The week ahead is not such a busy week. However, there are always events and data to take care of them. Let's take a brief look at the week ahead and the most important events of the week. Number 1. European Service PMI. Despite the remarkable recovery in the manufacturing and industrial groups, the service sector was still under pressure. And while Monday we will have European Service PMI numbers, the new version of coronavirus called Delta is the latest concerns for the service sector, especially in the tourism industry and countries like Italy and Spain, the countries that their economy so much depends on tourism. However, the last months they have started easing the lockdowns, and despite the higher prices than pre-pandemic, it's still expected to have better results. Euro still trading weaker against US dollar, and our expectation is to see the current trend, especially as long as it's trading under 200 DMA at 1.20. Number 2. RBA interest rate decision. Our expectation from Tuesday's meeting with the Reserve Bank of Australia is to leave the cash rate at the current record low and adopt a flexible approach to its asset purchasing plan. After earlier fast recovery that put the RBA ahead of any tapering plan, recent outbreak of coronavirus added the doubts on the timing of leaving the crisis stimulus. The Australian index AU200 has weakened slightly in the last 2 weeks, but with the coming data in the week ahead and RBA meetings holding the overall uptrend above the 50 DMA at the 7,100 is more likely. Number 3. FOMC meeting minutes. What we know from the meeting is that the Federal Reserve members started to talk about the tapering and rate raise in 2023. However, there are some members like James Bullard that spoke about the rate raise in 2022 much sooner than Federal Reserve projection by the end of 2023. However, he is not the voting member this year, but will be the voting member next year. Also, we know that the opinion of the Fed Chair, Mr. Powell, and New York Fed's John Williams has the support of the majority. The minutes should spark more light on Federal Reserve tapering program and generally its monetary policies. As US stocks fall after the Federal Reserve meeting, we expect the same reaction after publishing the meeting minutes as well. Number 4. European Central Bank meeting minutes. ECB also will publish its meeting minutes later this week on Thursday. We are not expecting any surprise in the meeting minutes. Market participants will also be following the news coming out from the series of the meeting set in the following weeks to polish up its strategic view. As we know, ECB is planning to change its inflation target, which is currently at 2%. ECB's goal is to complete the review by coming September. Also, European Central Bank's members and policymakers will have a special meeting in Frankfurt to review the bank's strategies. Number 5. UK GDP. After confirmation of 1.6% reduction having seen in Q1 GDP, UK monthly GDP number will be provide more data of recent economic activities and recovery after the weaker start in the first months of 2021. First quarter was strongly affected by ending the Brexit transition period and the January lockdowns. That's why we will be more optimistic for this report. Same as last week, still we are optimistic on FTSE to see it in a higher levels. And finally, number 6, Chinese inflation. China's producer price have been raising in the last month as the cost of the raw materials soared to the higher commodity prices and is expecting to affect the consumer inflation as well. Investors and traders will be watching these numbers closely to see how the second biggest economy of the world is recovering. Thanks for your attention and wish you are having an amazing week ahead.